In this video, we'll discover together 15 fun facts about Back to the Future, one of the most beloved movies of all time. Get ready, because if I'm right,
when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
Okay, I'll stop. Let's just jump straight into number 1. The brilliant idea for the original screenplay came from a thought by Bob Gale, who, while flipping through his father's 1980 high school yearbook, wondered what it would have been like to meet him in school and whether they would have ever been friends. We can admit that it's a thought we've all had at least once. Anyway, Gale decided to pitch the idea to his friend Robert Zemeckis, and the two immediately began writing the script. Number 2. Did you know that at first they considered using a refrigerator as the time travel device?
Impossible.
And no, I'm not joking. The screenwriters really thought it was a good idea. However, they eventually scrapped it because they were worried kids might imitate the movie by locking themselves inside refrigerators. So in the end, they chose the DeLorean, and I'd say, thankfully. Let's move on to number 3. You know how in the movie they use a lightning strike to send the DeLorean back to the future, right? Well, that wasn't the original idea. Initially, the screenwriters had thought of a nuclear explosion at the Nevada test site. The sharpest among you may have already figured it out, but in case you haven't, I'll explain. Doesn't the scene with the fridge and the nuclear explosion remind you of anything?
7, 6, 1.
That's right, Spielberg never gave up on the idea all these years. Number 4. From 1981, the script was rejected a whopping 40 times, either because it was considered too light or because time travel wasn't seen as interesting and didn't bring in much revenue. Disney, for instance, rejected it because they felt that a mother falling in love with her own son was inappropriate. But in the end, thanks to the success of Romancing the Stone, Zemeckis caught Spielberg's attention, and he teamed up with Universal to produce it. Disney is probably still kicking themselves over it. And now, number 5. Did you know that the opening scene of the movie contains a spoiler for the ending? At the beginning, we see Doc's massive assortment of clocks, and on one of them, you can spot a figurine of a man hanging from the clock hands. It's a reference to 1920s silent film star Harold Lloyd, who hangs from a clock in his most famous role in Safety Last. This foreshadows the similar situation in which Doc himself will be hanging from the Hill Valley clock at the end of the movie. Number 6. It seems that producer Sid Sheinberg suggested changing the title to Spaceman from Pluto, but Steven Spielberg wrote him a note with this exact phrase. That was a funny joke, we all had a big laugh, and the title was never changed again. But seriously, what terrible ideas they had back then.
And I've got to say, in all honesty, it's the biggest piece of dog shit that I have ever heard of.
Anyway, let's move on to number 7. Many actors wanted to play the role of Marty McFly, and among them was Johnny Depp. However, Eric Stoltz initially played the role for more than a month, but Robert Zemeckis wasn't satisfied with his performance. So he went back to his first choice, Michael J. Fox, managing to convince the production of Family Ties to let him shoot both the sitcom and the movie simultaneously. As a result, Stoltz was fired, and all the scenes were reshot with Fox. In the scene where Marty escapes from the Libyans, if you look closely, you can still spot Stoltz playing Marty in a few moments.
Right there! Coincidence? I think not!
Number 8. We all remember Biff Tannen, right? Well, the character got his name from Universal's executive producer, Ned Tannen, who behaved aggressively towards screenwriters Zemeckis and Gale during the pre-production meeting for the 1964 film A Hard Day's Night, featuring the Beatles. So they decided to honor him by naming the villain in their time travel movie after him. Clever move, guys. Number 9. Speaking of Universal, the head of the company changed 2 things about the character of Doc Brown. Originally, he was supposed to be Professor Brown, but that's not all. They initially considered having a monkey as his pet instead of a dog. However, the head of Universal didn't like that idea and decided to change it to a dog.
We'll figure this all out and get the monkey back, I promise! Don't give a fuck about the monkey, Alan! Oh, shit!
Let's move on to number 10. As we all know, the trilogy is full of Easter eggs. In fact, in the first film during the music audition where Marty and his band are rejected, the professor who calls them too loud is Huey Lewis, the leader of the band, The News, and the songwriter of The Power of Love, which Marty was actually playing on stage. I think very few people knew that. Anyway, let's go ahead with number 11. In the original language, Marty is called Calvin Klein in 1955, not Levi Strauss as in the Spanish and Italian versions. This decision was made because the Calvin Klein brand was barely known in Italy and Spain in the 1980s, while Levi's was extremely famous. However, it wouldn't have made any sense for Marty to be named Levi Strauss in the original version either.
What?
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Because the brand was founded in the late 19th century and was already one of the best-selling brands in the United States by 1955. Therefore, it would have been impossible for his mother, Lorraine, not to recognize that name. On the other hand, Calvin Klein founded his company in the late 1960s. In France, the name chosen for the protagonist was Pierre Cardin. Number 12. Did you know that Crispin Glover, who played Marty's father, George McFly, is actually 3 years younger than Michael J. Fox? However, Glover didn't return for the sequel because he was offered a ridiculously low amount to reprise his role as George, so he was replaced, and his character was heavily rewritten.
Oh, great Scott!
Let's move on to number 13. As we know, the film has been watched and appreciated by everyone, including the President of the United States, who, contrary to the producer's fears, enjoyed the part where Doc Brown from 1955 is shocked to discover that in 1985, the actor was the head of the United States. Reagan even quoted a line from the film in one of his speeches. As they said in Back to the Future, where we're going, we don't need roads.
Never has there been a more exciting time to be alive. A time of rousing wonder and heroic achievement. As they said in the film Back to the Future, where we're going, we don't need roads.
Number 14. As we all know, one of the most iconic items from the film is the self-lacing Nikes. Despite everyone's dream of owning a pair, in 2008, Nike actually produced a version of Marty McFly's shoes.
Shoes! I need shoes! Does this power lace? Great Scott! The time circus must have malfunctioned.
Whoa.
Although unfortunately they didn't really self-lace, they just replicated the design.
But I want it now!
Number 15. In the scene that made cinema history where Marty plays Johnny B. Goode, we know that Marvin is on the phone with his cousin Chuck Berry, who wrote and recorded the song 3 years after hearing Marty play it. Fun fact, it's not Michael J. Fox singing, but a singer named Mark Campbell.
Way down in Louisiana, down in New Orleans, oh Johnny, go, go.
Anyway, Marty also pays tribute to Pete Townsend by kicking the amplifier, Jimi Hendrix by playing the guitar behind his head, and Eddie Van Halen with the tapping technique. Alright guys, that wraps it up for today. Let me know in the comments which movie or TV series you'd like to see in the next video, and I'll try to accommodate you.